So first thing first, we're going to start with our bechamel cream. So we're going to need milk, butter, flour, nutmeg, and some salt. So let's start with our first step, which is going to be to boil our milk, and we're going to add some salt and some nutmeg to it. So it is very important that the milk is hot, because this is going to guarantee you a smooth and creamy result. So when the milk is hot enough, you're going to just take it off the fire and then leave it aside. We're going to start with our second step, which is to melt the butter. So when melting the butter, it's very important to leave it on a low heat, because you don't want your butter to be burnt. And when it's melted, the next step is going to be to add our flour to it. And don't worry if it gets this dry, as you can see from the video, because we're going to add milk to it. And it's very important for the milk to be added a little at a time and not all at once, because you want a smooth result and not with lumps in it. So as you can see, I'm adding my latte a little at a time, and we're going to do this till we get to the consistency that we want. Now, if you're like me, you don't want a very liquidy and soupy lasagna, so be very careful with the amount of milk that you add, which is the other reason why we are adding the milk a little at a time. And you have to also keep in mind that when you take it off the fire and you leave it on the side, it gets a bit thicker. So as you can see from the video, this is the result that you're supposed to get. So at this point, I'm going to cook it for 5 minutes and then I'll take it off the fire. So next step is going to be to cook our lasagna sheets. So you cook it as you cook your normal pasta. So you just put water on fire. If you want, you can add some salt. I didn't, because I added salt in the bechamel and my lasagna is already tasty enough, so I don't need to add more salt. So after 2 or 3 minutes of leaving it in the hot water, you take it off by helping yourself with a spatula or anything that works for you. So when it comes to the lasagna sheets, you can buy them like freshly made, or you can also find lasagnas that are ready to be baked directly without being cooked. But I prefer to show this process because I think it's the most complicated one. So I cooked about 10 sheets of lasagna, because my oven pan is very small and I'm going to need 2 sheets for each layer. So you might be wondering where I left the lasagna sheets. Yeah, this is where I left them. I just took a clean napkin and then I placed them on it for it to dry, for them to be ready for the next step. This is the ragu I'm going to use. It looks yummy and rich, right? So it's the recipe right before this one on this channel, so make sure you check it out and you're not going to regret, believe me. So we just take our pan at this point, add some oil and a little bit of ragu on the bottom. This is because you want to prevent stickage. And then we're going to start the process of adding our sheets. As I said, my pan is very small, so I need 2 sheets for each layer. So with the first layer, we're going to add more ragu than the one we added at the bottom. And then we are going to add our bechamel. And then we're just going to mix it up. And then add another layer of lasagna sheets. So I'm going to do this for 5 times because, as I said, my casserole is very small. So it's not a problem if your lasagna sheets overlap. And as you can see, after 2 layers, I added some cheese to it. Some people add mozzarella or ricotta or other type of cheese. Now, that is not the old school lasagna, but it does give that cheesy stretch. So whatever you do, the most important thing is that you add an unreasonable amount of Parmesan cheese to crisp the top. So after the long hard work, our lasagna is almost ready. So now all we have to do is to just put it in the oven for about 20 minutes at 220 degrees, and we're ready. Look at the yumminess. But be careful not to eat it right away because you don't want to burn your tongue. Actually, I prefer to leave my lasagna to cool overnight. But you have to wait at least for 30 minutes before you start eating, even though I know it's inviting and you want to just, dig right in. But please wait home because I don't want to be responsible for someone's dead tongue. So after leaving it overnight, the following day, this is what the situation is going to be. So it's soft, it's delectable, it's flavorful, it's delish, and most importantly, it's divine, and it smells like God's breath in the morning. Can you imagine how God's breath is in the morning? Look at that. So let me just turn it around for you to have a full view of what the whole situation is. So I hope you like it, and see you next week, and thanks for watching.